You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the weekly Keep Canada Weird discussion series. If you're new here in Keep Canada Weird, my pal handsome Aaron Airport and I seek out and explore some of the more offbeat Canadian news stories from the past week. In tonight's episode, which was recorded on the evening of February 5th, 2023, Aaron and I find ourselves in a rather uncomfortable position. If you listened to last week's episode, you heard Aaron be confronted by a group of listeners who questioned his role in the show and called for improvements to his attitude. Well, let's just say Aaron didn't take it well. And since the recording of that episode, I have found myself trapped in the middle between my listeners and my close friend and creative partner. Aaron almost didn't come back for this episode, but using my personal and lifelong friendship with Aaron as a sort of social collateral, he agreed to give Keep Canada Weird one last chance. And this episode is it. So tonight, we have the trial of Aaron Airport, we watch a car battle a mall, we mourn the death of a groundhog and a bunch of frozen pizzas, and then we meet a Canadian legend, Dino, the 2-liter bottle of pop guy. So let's get into it. I usually call you handsome Aaron Airport. I'm going to just start this with Aaron, because I think this episode maybe won't be as lighthearted as it's been. There's no secret that there's some drama going on behind the scenes, so let me just ask, how are you doing, Aaron?
To be honest, you want to know actually how I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm not good, man.
No.
I don't want to be here right now. I feel like I've lost my passion for this show. And I haven't been getting a lot of sleep, to be honest.
Yeah. Last week was rough, and I think it was especially rough, because you first heard those messages that were critical. You heard those live on air.
That was the first time I heard them. I wasn't prepared for it. I tried to keep a smile on my face through the show. I tried to pretend like it didn't bother me, but I was upset. I didn't know why I was doing any of this anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been back and forth all week as if there was even going to be a show today, or if there was ever going to be another show. I was looking for replacements, looking at other ways I could program this. You've agreed to come on the show. We're going to go through tonight and see how it goes.
I just need you to know, though, because I'm here tonight does not mean I'm here next week. I'll do this final show. We'll see how it goes. And I have no guarantees for you that I will do any more shows past this. So, because I don't know. I don't know if I can.
I get it. And I've apologized personally and privately to you about playing those and reading you those messages on air without warning you last week. That was disrespectful. It was wrong for me to do. It's behind us. I have an idea of how we're going to move forward, though. So we have and I hope you're okay with this. We have a mutual friend, Randy Stonewall, who helps out on the show quite a bit. Listeners of the show know Randy. I went to him because I'm like, how are we going to deal with this between Aaron and I and the listeners of the show? He had some thoughts, and I think he has a pretty good idea how to approach this. Here's what Randy said. Randy, I got a problem.
What?
So, Aaron Airport and I are doing the weekly Keep Canada Weird series.
Oh, I know damn well, yeah.
Well, listeners are complaining. Last week I got 2 messages from people who had an issue with him. They don't like his attitude. I think they thought he was being overly critical. So let me ask you, what do you think of him and as a co-host? Do you think he's respectful?
Yeah. I mean, that's just Aaron's personality to kind of be crotchety and cantankerous. But what I really think the issue here is, Jordan, is that people are missing Randy. Right?
Do you think that's what it is? They want you? So, well, let me ask you that then. If Aaron walks away from it, will you come?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The Rand Club members. Right?
Yeah, the Rand Club would be pumped. You're right. How do you think I should deal with Aaron in this whole situation? Do you think should I just put it to the listeners?
Well, yeah, you could do a listener poll, or a poll on Instagram or TikTok. I see that you're on that now.
Yeah. I'm a 17-year-old, on TikTok.
Yeah, Yeah, you definitely want to deal with it as publicly as possible here, right? Because these are both public figures, and you really want to air this live.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you know if we need you to step in.
Yeah, if you need a mediator, if you need me to,
Be a
handle
judge?
things, I will. It's definitely a little bit of a conflict of interest because Aaron and I, we watch wrestling together every month. So,
All right, well, I'm going to put it to the listeners, and we'll see what happens.
yeah. I mean, I can speak for myself, and I know that the Randy Stonewall, fans are missing me.
So what he's suggesting there is that I put it to the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You can face your accuser, and then feel the support of your supporters at your back. Do you think that's how we should do this?
I think that's the only way to do this. I'm willing to try it for you because you and I have been so close for so many years.
Yeah.
Again, I can't guarantee by the end of this that Keep Canada Weird will have a handsome Aaron Airport anymore.
This is what I worry about. Like when we started this, it's like mixing friends with business. I was like, I'd love to have Aaron on. He's one of my best friends in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But this going to drive us apart? And I'm hoping that we can settle this right now. So I did put it to the listeners, Aaron, and I've gotten a mixed bag back of people supporting you, neutral on the issue. And yeah, you're not going to like some of what you're going to hear. Let me get right into it. And the first message I'm going to play, I guess this is going to be the trial of Aaron Airport. And I'm going to let the prosecution make their case first, because the first person we're going to hear from is your accuser. Do you remember the young lady last week who named a cockroach after you?
Yeah. How could I forget? It's been tattooed in my brain every night when I go to sleep. All I hear is, I'm going to name a cockroach after Aaron. I'm going to name a cockroach after Aaron. I'm going to name a cockroach, a disgusting, vile, hateful cockroach after Aaron.
Well, it's going to get worse.
Hi, Jordan. I left you a voice message last week about how I was going to name a cockroach after Aaron. I've never dated Aaron. I've never met Aaron. I probably will never meet Aaron. My reason for leaving the voicemail is that I very much agree with the person who emailed you, whose email you read on that same show. Aaron often disagrees with you, and it's almost like he finds little to no joy in the stories that you tell. I know you bring a lot of happiness to people who listen to your show daily, weekly, but it seems that Aaron finds no joy in it. I've never heard someone that can disagree so much. Just like that beef that he had with the woman over whether it was Reese's or Reese's. I think it was Reese's. There's no way Aaron actually walks around and calls them Reese's. I think he just wanted to disagree. Anyways, I don't not like Aaron. I do like Aaron. I just want to know that he doesn't hate everything, that he does have some joy in his life. Anyways, not to make Aaron feel bad.
Okay. Okay.
So that is the accusation. You're joyless, cantankerous, I think is how Randy put it.
Yeah.
But I think the prosecution will have to rest their case right at that moment, right after that call, because that was really, when I put it to the listeners, that was the one person who stood back up and had something negative to say.
All right. Can I just have a light response to this?
Yeah, please.
She referenced the Reese versus Reese's debate. I didn't start that fight. Okay? On the show. Okay, I'm getting upset. Okay, hold up. On the show in question that brought about that entire series of events and that continuous debate about Reese versus Reese's, I had said Reese peanut butter puffs on the show. Just talking about whatever was going on that we were talking about at the time, and I said Reese peanut butter puffs. Somebody then, who wanted to disagree with me, came back and emailed or called into the show and said it's actually Reese's with an apostrophe S.
That's true.
And then So that's what started this debate. We looked into it and found out that we're both right. There are some products that say Reese, and there are some products that say Reese's.
Mhm.
And then we ended it at that. So that example that she used is a bad example. And I
Okay.
want to name a cockroach after that example.
Let's not get too into it because this isn't about
Okay, I'm
that individual
fuming right
statement.
now. I'm
Yeah,
flipping out.
she's listening, being like, "See, this is my
You
problem."
know what? Yeah, I'm playing right into this spider's web
Okay,
right now. So
let's.
I got to settle down. I'm going to relax. I'm leaving the show anyway. So what do
We're
I?
gonna tip the needle. So that was the against Aaron. Here's what I consider a neutral comment from
Okay.
Sherry.
Okay, Sherry, please, I need you.
Hello, Sherry here from North Dakota. I started listening to you guys last summer, I think, started from the beginning and binged, yeah. Finally caught up just a little bit ago. I drive a school bus route and a mail route, so I have lots of time to listen. Anyway, I just wanted to say, when it comes to handsome Aaron Airport, that you kind of got to have a thick skin to understand him. There's been a couple times that I've kind of questioned what he's saying, but for the most part, I think he's got a dark humor, sarcastic sense to him. I don't know. I don't ever take him too seriously. So, my thoughts after listening to the last episode was people need to get a thick skin and just go with the flow. All right. Thanks.
So I think Sherry thinks, if anything, the problem is people who can't handle you, and I think that's fair.
You know, I have a philosophy that not only do I apply it to this podcast, but I apply this philosophy to my general business dealings. Whenever I'm dealing with anything in my work, my professional life, the customer is always wrong. So, what I think the point Sherry is trying to make, and that I agree with, is in this case, in the arena of a podcast, the listener is always wrong, except for Sherry, who in this case is 100% right. But generally, the listener is wrong. And I just want to double down on that and say anyone who disagrees with me throughout this show is 100% wrong. And that is my policy going forward if I decide to stay on this show.
Whoa! So if you stay, it's good. Things are going to change. But
Things are going to change because if I stay, I'm telling you this right now, if we ink this contract and I stay, it's going to be a different show. It's going to be I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to come out hot right off the top of every episode. And anybody who stands in my way is going to go fly a Keep Canada Weird kite with me, because I am not taking any more SHI cross from people.
I think you're worked up now. You've got a lot going on. Just chill, because the handsome Aaron Airport army is banging at my door wanting me to play their voicemails. So here we go.
Okay.
This one I call Les Jordan.
Sorry, I'm hearing this for the first time.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. I'm just calling to address the caller that said he wanted less Aaron. I'm glad you brought it up, because Aaron had a great response, as I expected. And to be honest, I think Aaron is the glue that holds Keep Canada Weird together. I appreciate his sarcasm and negativity, especially towards Tim Hortons. Anyway, stay weird.
So he didn't come out and say Les Jordan, but I think the writing's on the wall there.
I like that. The argument of him is like, because I thought maybe the argument, he's not negative, he's just sarcastic. It's like, I just appreciate the negativity that he's bringing. I love his piss poor attitude.
Yeah, he's fine with it.
Yeah, good man. Yeah. You know what? Like, I'm not here to slap smiley face stickers on everything. This is a real world we live in, and these are real world topics that we're talking about. These stories actually happen. This is not fiction, folks. This is real. So if you want me to spin everything into some kind of a happily ever after fairy tale, then fine. Go check out a fairy tale podcast. That's fine. I'm here to take these stories and grind them up into the raw, real, emotional foundation and truth that they are. And if you fear the truth, then run away, because the truth is here and it's powerful and it's angry and it's negative and it is just on fire right now. I'm so burning to death right now. I'm so angry and negative. I'm so negative.
Hey guys, it's Sarah from Tennessee again. Just had to call in and show a little love for Aaron after hearing the hate messages. I guess everyone can appreciate his dry wit, which I think is totally appropriate for weird stories. As far as the talking down to, I mean, is it even possible to talk down to a pastry bandit or a ninja with a vision? I think not. Bye.
I like it.
Tennessee. Love it.
I like that the Americans are stepping up to weigh in on this too. It's just like how in Canada we all have opinions on American politics.
Well, is
They
this
might
a,
as well.
is this a Canada is too polite and Americans aren't? Kind of situation we're seeing play out in front of us right now. Kind of a people are getting set off, and it's kind of painting that picture, I think.
I'm going to end with this message. And I think when I hear this, I have a feeling you're going to feel a whole lot better and things are going to go back to just the way they were, I hope. Here's what Nancy B had to say. Hi, guys. I've been meaning to write for a while now, but I knew I had to after hearing the negative feedback about Aaron. I have the opposite view of Mr. Handsome Aaron Airport. I find his input on the show to be invaluable and important. What some may read as negativity, I read as genius. Aaron looks deeper into the nighttime stories to tell us what's really going on with companies like Tim Hortons. He warns us of potential nefarious schemes such as Animal Uprising. Listeners, he's doing us a service and we should be grateful. With admiration and appreciation, Nancy B. from California. So she can sense the journalism that's happening on your side of the screen and from your microphone.
I know. I mean, Nancy B., I appreciate you. I really do. And not to, I apologize for being positive here. I do. I know you prefer my negativity. But I just want to say, I just want to take down my guard for just a second and say that your message has touched me deeply. It has affected me. And my negative heart that prefers to talk down as opposed to up or straight ahead is melting. It was frozen for a long time.
Because it's been minus 40 here, or just because of
But
life
even
beating
before
you?
that, Jordan, metaphorically speaking, I've been frozen on the inside, but now I melt. Now I am a puddle of emotions. Don't slip on me. Just dry me up with some paper towel.
So you've heard what the listeners have to say. If I'm judge here, I'm saying Aaron Airport's okay with the listeners of Nighttime. Are we going to go forward?
I'm going to go forward. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
A few of those messages really got to me and really made me feel like the work, not only that I'm doing, but also that you are doing, Jordan, is valuable. It's important. It's appreciated. And it should continue.
Well, with that said, let's get to it. We have a loaded episode tonight. I'm so glad you're here with me, Aaron, standing by my side as the listeners, for the most part, stand by you. We're going to be talking about a story that involves a car versus a mall. We're going to be talking about the Groundhog Death Day. And then to end the episode, we're going to hear from a Canadian legend in what I think is going to be a very memorable segment. But before we get to that, we have listener mail that isn't about you. They're two short ones that are mainly providing updates to prior stories. Mm-hmm. This one, we talked last week about the potential uprising of deer and moose around Saskatchewan. We thought it was a simple case of using the power of numbers and their size to take the land. But this listener, I think what they're hinting at is some kind of biological warfare that's going on. Listen to this.
All right.
See the New York Times story about deer causing coronavirus variants since you talked about deer in your podcast.
So what he's saying, I was like, deer?
Sorry, you know what he's saying?
I Googled it. I'm like,
Oh,
deer
okay.
coronavirus? I
Yeah.
don't read the New Yorker, believe it or not.
No.
But turns out that, yeah, it's true. They're finding all these weird variants of COVID in deer. And there's some worry that the next kind of strain that causes trouble may possibly pass from deer to human. And in Canada, humans in Canada are very close to deer and we kind of interact with deer a lot.
Well,
So
you do.
they drive me nuts in my
I
neighborhood.
know. They're in your backyard and you're frolicking with them.
Yeah, but I'm going to avoid it. I just want people to know that
Well, you were very concerned about deer. I think you talked about it last week or the week before. I can't remember. I was too negative at the time, but you said that you were worried about the ticks off of deer because of Lyme disease.
That's right. I never thought of COVID, but
Now
I'm not
it's COVID. Now it's new super strain COVID. So,
no, it's like the ticks are going to get COVID
and the
with
ticks
the
are going to get
Lyme.
the COVID, and then
Ugh.
Lyme disease is going to then mix with COVID and become Lyme COVID. Sorry, I have no really good idea of what to call that.
Okay, you may not know what to call that, but I think you can answer this question.
It's
This is
COVID
from
Lyme, the same way like you get like a Bud Light Lime.
yeah, COVID
COVID
Lyme.
Lyme. Yeah.
Mike, I believe is an American listener. Here's his question.
Hey, Jordan, this is Mike. I'm from the lower 48 in Utah. Love everything about what you guys do. Tim Horton. I've never been to one, but I just hate it. Is there a Tim Horton? What does he look like? Or if there isn't, what would you visually think he looks like? Like an 80s villain? I don't know. Let me know. Thanks.
So Mike is asking, is there really a Tim Hortons? And is there really a Tim Horton? And
Yeah.
if not, what would he look like? So I think a lot of people don't know that Tim Horton was like a famous hockey player
was.
back in
Yeah.
like the 50s or 60s or something.
Sure.
Whatever it
I
was.
wish I knew more than you about that and could correct
Once
you.
once upon the
Yeah.
time, Tim Horton was a famous hockey player who opened a coffee shop. And actually, we're going to tell the history and I guess recap our problem with Tim Hortons. Tim Horton was a hockey player who loved donuts and coffee, so he made this restaurant kind of thing that
Yeah, a
sold
coffee
good
shop.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a coffee shop that sold good coffee, fresh baked goods. It was successful, and other, they started opening up all over the place. They were making great coffee, baking their goods right in the restaurants and whatnot. The name Tim Hortons certainly has eclipsed Tim Horton himself as a hockey player. It's more, it's more well known than he is, I'm sure, at this point. But what ended up happening at somewhere along the way, the restaurant got too big. It got sold several times. Now it's owned by some giant, I think, Brazilian company. And rather than making good quality baked goods and coffee in restaurants, it mass produces nonsense and uses a shotgun style approach to marketing to try to sell anything to anyone, all under the guise of, if you're Canadian, you like this.
I agree 100% in everything you just said.
And if what he actually looks like, Tim Horton was a handsome fella, but what it would look like if you saw Tim Hortons today, it would just be a used car salesman, is what I would imagine.
Well, if you saw him today, it would look like a skeleton.
Well, assuming he's dead, I have no idea. But I think if the Tim Hortons restaurant that exists today, 2023 Tim Hortons is a used car salesman of coffee and donuts. But yes, he's a real person. Let's move on with the last one. This is Kitty from I'm guessing UK. Kitty's phoned in before. She has an amazing accent and is quite the storyteller.
Hey, Jordan and Aaron. I was just enjoying your episode on the worst McDonald's in Canada. I had a bit of time on my hands, so I decided to look up the reviews for this restaurant on TripAdvisor. I thought I would share them with you. One of them's titled Not Recommended, Not Normal McDonald's Experience, where basically the lady was served a normal sized burger in a tiny little bun. And then there's another one titled, Oh My Lord, where somebody ordered 5 Big Macs and one of them had no burger in it. And this person's then put the server the server slapped a burger down on the counter amongst other customers' sauce dribblings. And then my favourite review was titled "An OK/Dangerous Restaurant." And the reviewer has very generously given it 3 out of 5 stars. So, hours of fun there. Thanks, guys. Keep Canada weird.
I never thought to go through the
cheers.
reviews. An OK/dangerous restaurant.
Oh my God.
Ay, ay, ay. But
That's a classic. Good boots on the ground reporting there. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to get into it here. It has been, aside from what's been going on behind the scenes for the show, Canada has been holding up their end of the bargain by keeping itself weird. We got to break it down. I want to start with, I think, one of my favorite stories from the last several weeks, which is the story of the mall break-in/theft in Ontario that involves a car that was stolen in Quebec. Here's what's going on.
No one was entering Vaughan Mills through entrance 6 today as the mall dealt with the aftermath of a brazen break-and-enter.
It's an audacious crime.
York Regional Police released dramatic security video today that shows a 2011 black Audi A4 with a Quebec license plate smash right through the mall's entrance as the driver calmly navigates the hallways.
And made their way to an electronics store where they broke into the store and then proceeded to take a quantity of electronic devices.
Police say 2 suspects returned to the car with their stolen goods and then fled. Surveillance video showing them driving away through entrance 1 on the opposite side of the mall.
I've never heard of this in my entire life, so it's definitely one of a kind.
Why didn't they just go to a store, shatter the glass and do their thing? But to drive through an actual mall, I don't understand.
Honestly, it's very surprising. I've never seen that before.
Now this map shows you the route the thieves took. They entered the mall via entrance 6, proceeded this way before making a stop, according to mall staff, at the source. They returned to the car and then exited the mall via entrance 1.
To see the way that some people, the criminal element, are going about doing what they're doing, it is outrageous, and we need every hand on deck to try to fix it.
After releasing this video of the car and a license plate number late this afternoon, York Regional Police told CTV News they'd located the vehicle used in the incident and are now examining it for evidence.
I've never heard of anything like this happening, but I don't know. If you're going to try to do something like this kind of makes sense.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is the movie Groundhog Day, which just happened like the day Groundhog Day was just the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So in the movie Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's character is reliving the same day, Groundhog Day, over and over and over and over again. And once he starts to realize that this is not a curse, but it could be a blessing, I can now do whatever I want throughout this day and then wake up at the start of the day again tomorrow, consequence free, because it never happened, because he's reliving the same day over and over and over again. So there are certain scenes in the movie, once he realizes this, he just starts doing whatever he needs to do. So this is somebody who is going through a Groundhog Day type situation, reliving the same day over and over again. And then this is how they're doing it, because they're thinking the next day they're going to wake up at the start of the day again and all that mall driving never happened. But unfortunately, whatever broke the link in the repeated day chain was broken. So then now they wake up and there's lots of consequences.
Yeah, there's they haven't been caught yet. So far they've gotten away with it. Maybe, I think your explanation is as good as any other, because when you look at the story at where we're at now, someone in a stolen car drives through the mall in Vaughan, Ontario, takes a bunch of, laptops or something from Best Buy and takes off, ditches the stolen car and seemingly gets away with it. But this crime seems to start well before they break into the mall, and it doesn't even start in Ontario. It starts in Quebec, because the way they steal the car, assuming it's the same person, is its own crazy story. The victim of the actual owner of the stolen car tells the story of how the car ended up leaving their possession, and that alone is crazy. Listen to this.
I'll give you an update now to a shocking and bizarre story we brought you yesterday of a mall robbery north of Toronto. We now know the car belonged to a woman in Quebec who says it was stolen from her during a test drive gone wrong. CP24's Eden DeBebe is standing by. Story. What more can you tell us?
That's right. Well, we've learned more about the woman herself, Taylor Anna Cobinger, who is from Quebec, from Laval to be more specific. And it all started because she just wanted to save up some money for a down payment. She thought the best way to do that was to put her Audi up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. She did so at the beginning of the month. And towards the end of the month, she got a response from a man. She said the first test drive with him went well. There were no issues. It was all about the second test drive. That's where things went wrong. He was in the passenger seat, or rather, he was driving, she says, while she was in the passenger seat. He started driving erratically. It made her nervous. She asked to switch spots with him. They stopped the car. She got out of the car, and that's where things went wrong. Take a listen to hear what she said.
We both got out of the car, and as soon as we were walking to change place, he ran back. I had slippery rain boots on slushy snow. And he went back in the car. He didn't even have time to sit back in the car completely. So he had one foot still out and the other foot pressed on the gas pedal. And he left with my car. I tried to catch it back, but then I fell. Never in my life have I thought that I would see my car driving in the mall, especially through windows. It never crossed my mind, and I was shocked because also there's a lot of damages on it, which I'm not responsible and I'm not covered.
And talk about bad luck. That's another aspect of the situation. Even though she now knows her car is here in Vaughan, she'll be the one who has to pay the price of transporting it back to Laval and, of course, paying for its repairs. So it went from a money-saving measure to something that's going to cost her thousands of dollars.
Oh, what a tough spot to be in. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite the story, right?
Yeah.
You would think like there'd be you just think there'd be an easier way to steal a car than that whole spectacle.
It just reeks of somebody who's like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it certainly has.
I don't care. I'm just gonna take this car and I'm gonna go, and then a bunch of crazy stuff probably happened in between Quebec and then the mall incident.
Yeah, this
And they're
person
just
should
probably
write a
like,
book.
I'm just gonna do literally whatever I want right now. And the rest of I'm completely letting go of all social and legal constraints, and I'm gonna do literally whatever I want. That's what this person is doing. Like, it would be fun to drive through a mall, wouldn't it?
Well, I would love to do it. If under controlled circumstances, I wouldn't want to do it illegally in a stolen car.
No,
maybe
but if you've
go-karts.
given up and you don't care anymore, and you don't
Yeah.
care what happens to you, and you're like, okay, I need a car. All right, this woman is selling a car. I'm gonna take it for a test drive, and then as soon as she gets out of the car, I'm gonna take off, and then.
And drive to another province and go
But
in the
there's
mall.
probably a bunch that happened in between then and when they ended up there.
Mhm.
Like, there's probably just so many, untold events. There's so much we don't know of what happened in between.
Mhm. Oh yeah, and I'm sure there's more to this story. I bet I would
So
bet
by
my
the
life
time,
they-
if you heard every single detail of this story, by the time you got to the mall part, it would probably make complete sense.
Yeah. That's something. And like they say in the news clip, like she says, she didn't have physical damage insurance on her car, so yeah, she gets her car back. She actually went to Vaughan, Ontario, and drove the car back to Quebec to bring it to a mechanic. I read an interview with her. The car is drivable, but it's like destroyed. I think I saw upwards of $12,000 to $15,000 of damage to her car that she doesn't have insurance coverage for. So
Right.
although she has her car back, she doesn't have her car back. But I believe that the noteworthiness and newsworthiness of this incident has led to a lot of people actually wanting to buy the car from her as it stands now, just, I guess, as a conversation piece. But I wish her the best, and I'm glad no one was hurt in this. And whoever the hell, like you say, whoever took this car, they seem to be completely thoughtless, and someone needs to figure out who they are and make sure nothing bad, nothing worse happens.
Wow.
You mentioned Groundhog Day, the movie Groundhog Day, during your talk there, and your theory of what this may all be about. Have you watched that movie lately?
Oh yeah.
Like as in the last week, because it's been Groundhog
No,
Day.
no. Oddly enough, it was on over the Christmas break, and I watched it then for
Okay,
like
so
the 80th time that I've seen
yeah,
this movie.
it's an amazing Groundhog Day is an amazing movie.
Amazing movie.
Groundhog Day in reality though is weird. Just so I
That's
understand,
stupid.
I've never understood it. A groundhog, and it seems like every like community has this famous groundhog. This groundhog will come out of its like house or whatever, and if it sees its shadow, we have 5 more weeks of
Or
winter, and
like
if it
some amount of, yeah, whatever the amount is. Yeah, it's
and
stupid. I'm
it's
sure it
this
started in some kind of, way back thing, and I don't
it's
know.
just some dumb thing.
It's just a
But
dumb thing that dumb people do.
yeah, exactly. But the whole tradition in the whole tradition of it was flipped on its head just recently in Quebec. It went from this sweet little community event where the children were watching the groundhog stumble out of his hut to, I guess, a tragedy that probably traumatized quite a few children. I don't know if you're listening to Keep Canada Weird and you follow weird Canadian news, you may know what happened. But if not, oh man, things went wrong in Quebec on Groundhog Day just last week. Here's what happened.
Today is Groundhog Day. This is the day groundhogs are tasked to tell us how much longer it's going to be until spring. Well, here in Quebec, it's not quite working out as planned. So, Daniel, what happened to Fred La Marmotte?
Staff went to check on Fred on Groundhog Day's Eve and realized he wasn't breathing. But his death was only announced to the crowd in Val-d'Or that showed up this morning for the annual festivities.
Je vous annonce la mort de Fred.
Children and parents in the Gaspé town were shocked to learn that the 9-year-old groundhog had died. But the annual ceremony continued as planned with a stand-in for Fred. Organizer Roberto Blondin pulled a stuffed animal out of Fred's log cabin home and handed it to a child who helped the organizer predict how long winter will last.
Et le printemps sera...
And as you just heard there, they predicted 6 more weeks of winter, but not all groundhogs agree. Wharton Willie in Ontario did not see his shadow, which means, according to him, spring will come early. But famous Pennsylvania groundhog Puxatawny Phil did see his shadow. So who really knows how long winter will last? As for the town of Val d'Espoir, organizers say a new groundhog will be around next spring. Fred Jr. has already been born. Mitsumi?
Sad day for groundhogs, Daniel. But I'm with Phil myself.
So in the news clip, you see they're on stage with Fred's house. There's all these children and families in the crowd. The speaker addresses the crowd in French, but I think he simply says, Fred is dead. I don't know French, but I heard like, Fred de mort. And I think mort is like French for dead. So I wonder if he quite literally just said, Fred is dead. And everyone went, aww. What a bizarre thing.
It's so weird.
It's like a Saturday Night Live or a Kids in the Hall sketch or something to have it happen like this.
Yeah, and it's, I love animals, and I always get upset when I hear about an animal dying in any capacity. So it's unfortunate that this animal's death is under such a comedic tone.
Well, it's hard not to like chuckle at the weirdness, and I think they knew Fred was dead the night prior. So was there not some other way they could have handled it that morning? Well, I guess you can't cancel it last minute. I don't know what they could have done.
I'm sure there's a lot of moving pieces to this that we don't understand, the behind the scenes of the Groundhog Day celebration
in Quebec, and also just the image of they held up like since Fred was dead and couldn't be there, they had like a stuffy of a groundhog.
They had a stuffy,
but when they held it up, it actually looked like they were just holding a dead groundhog.
It did look dead.
I thought the imagery of that was off.
I think the entire production and every aspect of this is off.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of things dying that that you don't want to see, that will probably traumatize people. We got Canada learned of the death of another well-known name. I guess I don't know about brand, but certainly product line.
Mhm.
When I need something quick, I'm at Walmart or the superstore or something, and I got to grab something to bring home and feed my kids. Sometimes I do walk down that aisle full of frozen pizzas, and oftentimes, I grab Deliciio. Sadly, their days are numbered. Here's the news we are just getting over now. Actually, we're not getting over it. We learned it recently, but we're far from getting over it.
Oh, it'll be years.
It's time for business news with Richard Southern. Some popular frozen food products will soon be disappearing from stores. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Erica, you might actually have some of them in your freezer right now, like Deliciio. You know the frozen pizza, Erica?
Mm-hmm.
It's not delivery, it's Deliciio. Well, it's going to be no more. Deliciio exiting the Canadian market. Stouffer's frozen dinners will soon be no more as well in Canada. And Lean Cuisine also will disappear from the frozen food aisle. All of these products are made by Nestle Canada, which says it's winding down its frozen meals and frozen pizza business because apparently it's not making that much money. The company says it's going to focus instead on more profitable segments of its business, specifically candy, coffee, ice cream, supplements, and pet food. That's where the big money is these days. These products, Erica, weren't actually manufactured in Canada, so no jobs are going to be affected. But that's like 90% of my diet, Erica, so I'm kind of worried.
Now you'll have to switch to candy and coffee instead.
Or pet food, maybe.
Pet
sign
food.
of the times.
I have
That's
some.
all I can afford right now. You have lots.
I do, yes.
You gonna miss Deliciio?
Yeah, I am. I do buy, through the course of my adult life, I've lived off of Deliciio pizza. At times, at times it was my only source of nourishment.
I don't know if I would say that, but I ate a lot of them. But when I saw like a food kind of analyst, reporter type person writing, and they were looking at what percentage of Canadian grocery store freezer sections are made up of these foods that are being discontinued, and they said in some stores it's almost a quarter of the frozen foods will have been discontinued. And of course, competitors will fill the gaps that are there. But like Deliciio, for as long as I can remember, it's not delivery, it's Deliciio.
I know, and there are other frozen pizzas out there that we'll just end up buying those instead if you're strict on a Deliciio diet, like I had been for a long time. But it shocks me that at this point in time, the news is finally out. Like, we don't actually make a lot of money off of these. We're not going to make them anymore. But like, it's been around for so long, and
Yeah.
Deliciio is when everybody in Canada, I assume, thinks of frozen pizza. Maybe they don't eat Deliciio, but they certainly think of Deliciio as the main frozen pizza that we have in this country.
They have I think that saying, like, it's not, or tagline, it's not delivery, it's Deliciio. I think that just really stuck. You hear that all the time. But I wonder, has anyone ever been tricked? Like, do you think there was ever someone who thought,
No.
it's so obvious
It's
that it
so
is not
obvious. A
delivery?
Deliciio pizza is incredibly obvious.
Well,
Unless
you
you're
can-
in a town that has terrible pizza.
Oh, I feel bad if you're like, is this our local delivery or is Deliciio? It's like, that's a sign that your local pizza sucks. But I've even tried improving on Deliciio. I used to get them and I would add more ingredients. I would put like shredded like cheddar over it and maybe cut up different meat, like really good pepperoni, and put it on as a way to try to improve it. I've never been able to. It always tastes like salty cardboard pizza-ish stuff.
Now, I don't mind the taste of it. Like, I know it's not good pizza. I know that. However, it's one of those things where it's comforting and it's greasy and it's pizza that's been frozen and you heated it up.
Well, my hat's off to the fine folks at Nestle who have been bringing us Lean Cuisine, Stouffer's, and Deliciio. I could care less about Lean Cuisine and Stouffer's. Never had them, but I see them on the shelf all the time. Deliciio, I'll miss seeing it light up the freezer section at my local grocery store.
Yeah. It's going to be an adjustment for sure. Visually, I mean, when you walk down that aisle, it screams Deliciio.
Deliciio.
Buy me, eat me, die early.
Would you consider Delisio a Canadian legend?
I didn't really think of Delisio as even a Canadian anything. I just thought the entire world was covered in Delisio pizza. Apparently,
Well,
I'm wrong.
That was actually a segue.
Oh, sorry, I messed it up. You can kick me off the show.
Last week, we talked about a Canadian legend. We talked about how, I don't know, some division of the government has provided the guidance to Canadians to stick to 2 alcoholic drinks per week maximum as a way to reduce the risk of cancer in Canadians linked to alcohol. We talked a little bit about that. You and I didn't seem too moved one way or another about that guidance. Neither of us heavy drinkers. But what we did both enjoy was the interview with who's now known as the 2-liter bottle of pop guy or the 2 beer a week guy. His actual name is Dino. He was stopped outside of St. Catharines, Ontario liquor store by CHCH News.
What did you buy today?
I bought 6 Busch Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
Tall boys? How much would you drink a day?
Well, what day?
He's become a viral video sensation. People are making remixes and making video reactions to it. He's become a star. I'm assuming, Aaron, you've seen people sharing that video and heard people talking about this crazy guy.
I'm not on social media a lot, but yeah, for the amount that I am on, yeah, I've seen it a few times. So that means it's probably everywhere.
Well, let me tell you this. I got in touch with Dino, and in the most unique way. The reporter who did that interview shared it on Twitter saying, you know, I interviewed this guy today and it was crazy. And I watched it. And you know that I'm a big fan of the rock band Kiss.
Yeah.
When I watched the interview, I wrote underneath it in the comments on Twitter, I said, I bet my life that this man is a Kiss fan, talking about the guy in the video, because he ended the video with like rock and roll. And I'm like, it's just like, he just looks like a Kiss fan.
Oh, does he ever?
I got a notification on my phone a couple of days later that someone responded to that comment, and the comment said, like, I think it said, "You bet your ass I'm a Kiss fan." And then it posted a link to like a news article, and the news article was about this man in St. Catharines who made these custom-made Kiss-themed concrete tables that were stolen, and the police were investigating. And then when I looked at the photo of the man in the article, I'm like, oh my God, that's the dude from that interview. And I put it together like, you know, the guy in the interview is responding to me and is a Kiss fan. I wrote him right away and I was like, buddy, I would love to have you on Keep Canada Weird to tell us about, you know, your life, the interview, how your life has changed since the interview, how the interview even came to be. And let me tell you, the time I spent on the phone with this dude, Dino, is some of the most memorable moments I think I will ever have. The way he comes across in the interview with CHCH News, he's all like crazy with these one-liners. That's the way this dude talks. And I'm very proud to be able to share with you some sections of the interview. We'll break it down here. And I had to remove a lot because I'll tell you, he has a colorful vocabulary, and he was quite comfortable breezing through some controversial topics that I'm not going to air on the show, but I will air the portions that I think will get us to the heart of what happened. So it's going to begin my interview / discussion with Dino, the 2-liter bottle of pop guy. Here it comes.
You hear me?
I hear you just fine. You sound amazing.
Okay, do I look fat?
There's a few problems with the appearance. Yeah, the mic's all right, but I think we're going to need a new camera.
There's a few problems with the appearance.
We're going to need a bigger camera, I think.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Dino, I am beyond excited to talk to you. It's only taken a week. You're a Canadian icon, a living legend.
Isn't it fucking nuts?
What the hell happened? I got to hear the story. So how did this happen? How do you end up in front of this camera talking about those tall boys?
I swear to God, like I have some health problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I was coming back from my doctor, and I had a few doctor appointments that week, right? Once they were all done, I says to my body, okay, The doctors are done. I get to go drink now. I says, take me to the liquor store.
Yeah.
And my buddy, who, apparently loves and cares about me, he says, fuck the fucking liquor store. We're going to go to the beer store. You're going to get some beers. You're going to be fine. And we fought about it. And finally, I gave in. I said, okay, go to the beer store. We pull up to the beer store, and there they are. I see the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over. I says, cameras? Hello. And like I say, the cameras are there, but they were wrapping up. They were done.
Okay.
And I have no fucking clue what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I walk over, so I get out of the truck. I go, what's this all about? To the camera guy who's loading his equipment into the truck, getting ready to leave. He goes, we just did a thing about the new guidelines. I go, guidelines about what? He goes, you're only allowed to have 2 beverages a week, alcohol beverage. I go, what? I go, can I get in on this? He looks at me, and they're wrapping up, right? And Matt Ingram, he's way on the other end.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I said to this camera guy where he went, 1 second, sir. Matt, get over here. We got one more. We got one more. I said, I want to get in on this.
Yeah, I know what happened. It's like they know a real one when they see one, and when you approach, he's like, "No, we're doing overtime unpaid."
Yeah, because I'm not there to bullshit. And then I was actually there for like a good 4 minutes.
Okay.
Because that camera guy was so fucking funny. Like as we're done, like he kept on following me all the way to the vehicle, and he kept on going. Keep going. And I'm like, keep going. So I would really like to see the rest of that footage.
Yeah. So you do this interview, you go on about your day. When do you realize that the interview's posted and everybody across Canada is celebrating you?
This is the kicker. So I have a TikTok account, right? So my post of that actual interview gets nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, I'm looking 2 million views, million views, 4 million views. I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And I'm telling you, to rate now, still millions. Like did you see today they made that song?
Yeah, someone like remixed it into a song.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, I've seen so many different takes on it and different people playing it and commenting on it and stuff. What's it been like for you? Because you're just a regular guy in Ontario who now is a viral sensation. What's your life been like the last week or two?
You know what my favorite part about it is?
What?
You know the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know how comment sections can get pretty brutal, right?
Yes, they certainly can.
They can, with all the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I cannot believe how, no matter how many times I look, the comment sections are always positive.
Yeah, it's funny, eh? Like, yeah, Canadians are divided over every issue except the issue of your video.
Yeah, isn't that fucked?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, believe me, I love social media. Like I follow it and everything. And like even with Prince Harry, you get the haters and the lovers, Kardashians, haters, lovers. With me, for some fucking reason, it's just always, this guy's okay. Whatever it is, whatever I just heard, I like it.
Yeah. And what do friends and family think? Are they like, Dino's finally getting his moment in the sun?
Yeah, but add the word again to that statement.
Uh-oh. This isn't your first rodeo?
Oh, no. Well, you must have seen the thing with the Royal Yacht.
No.
What?
No, the Royal Yacht.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're telling me we're doing this interview, you don't even know about can you pull up a video?
So I'm going to break from the discussion here, and I'll explain. What are you thinking so far? Are you all right?
I'm exhausted.
And it's only getting started here. So I get to this point in the talk, and he's like, "You don't know about the Royal Yacht? Like, you're doing this interview, you don't know the Royal Yacht?" I had no idea what he was talking about. While I'm on the phone with him during this interview, I'm Googling like Royal Yacht, Dino, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I stumble upon like some articles about something that happened in the 90s. He walks away from his iPad for a minute, and he goes and gets magazines to show me. But what it is his friends and family weren't surprised that he is a viral star, because in the early 90s, he was on the front page of the National Enquirer magazine, like back
Yeah. You see them in the grocery stores.
Yeah. And the reason why is, okay, and the interview with him, he goes on and on about this, but I'm not going to air it just yet. But he was the manager and the DJ at a strip club in Niagara Falls. He calls it in Niagara on the Lake. He was calling it Viagra on the Lake. While he was DJing at the strip club one night, he saw, I guess a yacht was in town, like a large yacht was parked, and all these like obviously wealthy people pile into the strip club. And he's thinking like, there's something up with these like well-dressed people throwing money around. So he takes his Polaroid camera and he leaves the DJ booth and he starts taking photos of these very wealthy people with the strippers all over them. When they leave the nightclub and the strip club, he learns that they're employees and the staff of the Royal Yacht, and that Princess Diana and Prince Charles and all of the royal family are on this yacht. But he thinks, or he realizes, like, I have photos of them.
Yeah.
So what he does is what any kind of entrepreneurial strip club DJ manager would do, is he looks at who may want to buy these photos. He contacts Buckingham Palace to see if they're interested in buying them. I think he may have talked to the Queen. I couldn't really tell.
I'm sure you would have had a direct line to the Queen.
He was going to tell you that story. But then what he does is he eventually settles on selling them to the National Enquirer magazine, which was a huge deal. They did a bit like an issue of all of his photos. He was all on the, on the news across the US, across England, telling the story. So he was a star in the 1990s. So with that behind us, I'm going to save the 15 minutes of that story from the interview. I'm going to jump back into it now with the second part of my talk.
Where were we? You were saying, "Oh yeah, what's it like that? This is not my first rodeo."
Oh, they're just like, so people who know you are like, again.
When I finally ended up selling my pictures to the National Enquirer bought them, but I had everybody bidding, so I called Buckingham Palace. I called Buckingham Palace. Do you remember payphones?
Yeah, I remember payphones, yeah.
Yeah, from a fucking payphone in the strip club. I called Buckingham Palace, collect. Right? And they go, collect revenue. I said, just say it's some dude in Niagara on the Lake, Canada. I'm pretty sure they'll accept because they know what the fuck's going on. And they accepted. And they said, hello, Buckingham Palace Press Department. Now, by this time, I had my beers and everything. Guess what I said?
What did you say?
You won't fucking believe it. And it worked. I says, cut the bullshit and give me the old lady. I swear to God, I kid you not. I said, cut the bullshit, give me the old lady. So anyway.
I can see why this video interview outside the beer store isn't a big shock. And you've also been in the news, and this is how we connected, is when I first saw the video of your interview, I commented on the video and I said, this man, I guarantee this man is a Kiss fan. And then I see a notification.
Yeah, you're the Kiss guy.
Yeah, I hear a notification shortly after, and I see you respond it, and you're like, "You're damn right I am." And you posted a link to the custom Kiss tables you were making that ended up being stolen at one point.
Yeah, we got robbed. $20,000 worth of fucking tables.
Hello, listeners. Sorry to pull you out of the episode like this, but I want to take a moment and remind you of the benefits of a nighttime premium feed subscription. First of all, I release the episodes ad-free and 2 days early on the premium feed, which gives you the show quicker and a lot less painfully. Secondly, I maintain a full back catalog of nighttime episodes and countless hours of bonus content only on the premium feed, so to give you more of the show than any sane person would probably even want to listen to. And the third thing, premium feed subscribers who do so annually get a discounted rate and receive a free swag pack by mail. Who doesn't love mail? And lastly, but hopefully most importantly, the premium feed will fund the creation of the show. My mics, my laptop, the little lights on my desk, it's all paid for by the combined efforts of the premium feed subscribers. So if any of this sounds good to you, for about the price of a cup of coffee, you can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. I want to thank you for considering it. Now, let's get back to the episode. Cut the bullshit. Give me the old lady. This guy is a real one, right?
Oh, this is as good as it gets. To quote Jack Nicholson.
So where we're at, I just cut again because we get into a long conversation about the nature of his business. But what he does is he has a business where he makes concrete tabletops that have artwork embedded in them. He's a big Kiss fan, so what he was doing was he was making like tables with Kiss album covers and logos and designs on them. And but what he told me about was this other story that I had to remove from this episode that we're doing now just for length. But he ended up mailing the Kiss tables to Gene Simmons, who is the bass player for Kiss. And Gene Simmons actually loved the tables and invited Dino and his company to come along on what was going to be Kiss's final tour, which would have been in 2020. And they were going to have the tables like where the band would be backstage or whatever. They would have Dino's Kiss tables, and maybe they would sell some or give them away as like prizes and stuff. And all the contracts were signed. Dino was back and forth in touch with Gene Simmons' lawyers. But when COVID hit, Kiss canceled the tour. And as a result, Dino's opportunity at Kiss table stardom was gone.
Wow.
Now, the part of the interview I'm jumping back to is just after he had told me about that all having fallen apart.
Okay.
So let me get back into it.
Everything was going great. COVID hit, and now I'm a loser.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't think I've talked to anyone in the last week or so that hasn't been like, did you see the video of that guy outside the beer store? I'm hearing about it from everywhere. What opportunities does this give you? Everyone knows who you are now. What have you been doing over the last week or so with all of this attention?
It gives me the opportunity to go get the fuck away from me. No, just kidding.
You're moving out of St. Catharines.
Yeah. No, it's good. You know what I like? I like how it makes people happy.
Yeah.
Okay? Because like the other night, I go to a bar and they're all like, he's here. That's him. And they're like taking their picture or whatever. And as long as it makes people happy, I don't care, because nothing I did was negative.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I say, most of the comments in all the comment sections, like everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere, there's always those fucking haters and people.
Yeah.
But like I said, the only haters are coming out against my teeth. And I told them right off the bat, I says, you think I don't know I'm dentally challenged?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, you end it with, you can't handle the tooth. Some people can't handle the tooth.
I got dental problems. And the Ron Jeremy thing, please. I've been fucking called that since, like I say, I've been called Ron Jeremy since before poutine reached Ontario. I know. I get it.
Oh man. But the clip
but for
itself,
for the most part, Canadians are fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like the comments are all like this guy, legend, mayor, prime minister. But it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
It's funny. And apparently I brought voice to an issue that would have flown under the radar.
Oh, seriously, a lot of people would not have any idea about this had it not been for your interview.
Exactly. Nothing. Like my one buddy today he goes, whether you realize it or not, he goes, someone in the prime minister's office has probably brought this to Justin's attention that this toothless guy.
He's got everybody fired up.
Firestorm. He's got, about these guidelines. And Justin's probably there, but they're guidelines. I know. I'm just saying. My final point on this is this. Guidelines in this country. Okay? Been here for a long time. You know, I'm a fucking Canadian. Guidelines eventually become laws in the hands of the wrong people. So is it going to be law that I can only have?
It's going to be an uphill battle now. I think the pop companies are the people who got to worry with after your interview.
The one guy posted this thing the other day. He goes, why don't you just start your own pop company? He goes, if you had a drink with your name on it, I'd buy it. I says, well, interestingly enough, my last name is Senacola.
Well, I think if a beer company doesn't contact you, then something's wrong with this country. Okay, I figured as much.
Oh yeah, Bud Light.
Okay. Oh, it'd be perfect, but it should
Bud
be.
Light says they love me, and they're working on something. They had a team meeting. They said.
Oh, I hope they got the top bosses in that meeting because something's got to happen.
They said we had the meeting. We all loved the video. We're bringing it up tomorrow at another team meeting. I love the team meetings, right? And I'm pretty sure they're probably sitting there going, this guy's a loose cannon.
Yeah. We like him, but I didn't.
Yeah, because who knows?
Well, this has been amazing. It's amazing to meet you, to get the story behind the story. I'm excited to find out where you pop up next, because this isn't the last time Canadians see Dino, I'm sure of it.
Oh, no. I'm getting ready.
Oh, God. Warm up. Get ready, everybody. Warm up. Yeah. Well, Dino, it's been awesome having you on the show. The video, I've watched it 100 times. I'm going to watch it 100 more. I'm glad you're a KISS fan, fellow member of the Army. I knew it. The second I saw you, I knew it. I can spot them.
I'm a general in the Army.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Dino, this has been fun, buddy. I'm sure we'll talk again. And I look forward to seeing you on the news in some other unexpected way. Rock and roll, man. Bye-bye.
Later, dude.
Bye-bye. Is that guy not awesome?
Oh, my God. One in a million, lines. I must say.
He does look like Ron Jeremy. And I
he
love
does look like Ron Jeremy. Not Ron, what Ron Jeremy became, not the original Ron Jeremy, but...
Well, in the clips of him selling the photos from the Royal Yacht, which were like early 90s, so like 30 years ago, he totally looks like a younger Ron Jeremy as well. But I love the line where he's like, I've been called Ron Jeremy since before poutine made it to Ontario.
Yeah, what a very specific calendar date that he has there of when did poutine make it to Ontario.
Well, I would have think probably late 80s, early 90s. So I think he's probably about right. Like, I don't think that's
I don't know. I have no idea when poutine made it to Ontario.
Well, I would say it made it.
That reference just doesn't resonate with me.
When did it make it to Cape Breton? I don't remember poutine before.
I had never tracked the history.
Do you remember having poutine before you were 13 years old?
I remember it in high school.
You would have been over 13. Do you remember before you were 13? I think I was 13.
Know. I don't know.
I also remember when
I've never thought about it. I've never thought about it.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking it was probably like 92, 93 when we first started having poutine in Cape Breton. He would have been called Ron Jeremy before that. So just saying. But yeah, I love the guy. He cracked me up. There's a lot more to that interview. I'm going to air the full interview another way. It's there are some parts of it, quite a few parts of it, that are not appropriate for YouTube and the general audience. He talks a lot about his strip club, and he tells this story.
Well, that's what I want to hear about.
Well, I couldn't air it, honestly. And then there's one part where we're about to go, and he's like, You got another minute? I got to tell you the story about Nick Cage. I call him Nick. He's talking about the actor. He tells the story about the time Nicolas Cage and Dana Carvey showed up at the strip club at Viagra on the Lake. And that story is certainly not for a general audience, but it was quite comical. So I'm going to find another way to air that. But anyway, Aaron, it's this has been a roller coaster.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, is a roller coaster.
We started off heavy.
Yeah.
We got over it to a degree. We covered the week in Weird Canada. We heard from the legend. You've been through a lot. You've had many sleepless nights. How are you feeling at the end of this episode?
You know, I feel rejuvenated. I feel thankful. There's so much listener support that I did get. It does make up for the extreme negativity that I actually faced, not referring to my own negativity that I direct towards others, but the negativity that I faced last week, it made up for it, and I feel ready to come back to the show.
I'll tell Randy to return the microphone that he bought then. Handsome Aaron Airport's back for good.
Yeah, I'm back, baby.
Aaron, this has been a memorable one. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you've reaccepted your position on the show. Until next time.
Jordan, until next time.
Get me the old lady on the phone, cut the bullshit.
There is a next time.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I in our mission to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for greater support. If something unusual happens in your town, please let us know about it. And the best way to let us know is by sending a voice memo through nighttimepodcast.com/contact. We hope to hear from you. Now I'm going to start wrapping up this episode, but before we do, let me give some thanks. A big thanks to Aaron Airport for giving Keep Canada Weird another chance and sharing an evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides this series' intro and outro voiceovers. And lastly, but most importantly, a massive thank you to everyone who listens to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. And on the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers to the premium feed. Ashley, Kitty, and Muffy, thank you for going premium. And for anyone else who'd like to support the show but can't do it by way of a premium feed subscription, you can give me a big hand by simply sharing this episode on social media and let some like-minded friends know what we're doing here. If you have any story ideas, want to give feedback on the show, or would like to contribute a voice memo to a future episode, you can do all that and more at nighttimepodcast.com. And again, we hope to hear from you. But until then, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let us know if you see anything weird.
The Nighttime Podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Jordan Bonaparte. Copyright Jordan Bonaparte.